Ivanhoe by Walter Scott. In the twilight of England's Norman-Saxon divide, under the reign of Richard I in the late 12th century, the land simmered with tension. The Normans held power, their castles looming over Saxon villages, while the dispossessed Saxons nursed old grudges. Amid this unrest, a weary pilgrim trudged through the Yorkshire woods, his staff tapping the earth. This was no ordinary wanderer, but Wilfred of Ivanhoe, a Saxon knight recently returned from the Crusades, disguised to avoid the wrath of his Norman foes and his own estranged father, Cedric of Rotherwood. Ivanhoe sought shelter at Cedric's hall, where a feast was underway. Cedric, a proud Saxon thane, dreamed of restoring Saxon glory, pinning his hopes on Athelstane, a sluggish nobleman descended from royalty. The hall buzzed with guests. The haughty Norman knight Brian de Bois Guilbert, a Templar with a fierce reputation, and Prior Aymer, a worldly monk. Also present was Lady Rowena, Cedric's ward, a Saxon beauty whom Ivanhoe secretly loved, but whom Cedric intended for Athelstane to wed, hoping to unite Saxon bloodlines. Among the crowd sat Isaac of York, a Jewish moneylender, and his daughter Rebecca, both treated with disdain by the Norman guests. As the feast unfolded, talk turned to the Crusades and the absent King Richard, held captive in Austria. Ivanhoe, still cloaked as a pilgrim, defended Richard's valor, earning curious glances. When Bois Guilbert boasted of Norman prowess, Ivanhoe quietly vowed to challenge him. Cedric, unaware of the pilgrim's identity, offered him hospitality but kept his distance, still bitter over Ivanhoe's service to the Norman king. The next day, a grand tournament at Ashby de la Zouch drew knights from across England. Prince John, Richard's scheming brother, presided, reveling in his temporary power. Bois Guilbert and other Norman knights, Front de Boeuf, de Bracy, and Malvoisin, dominated the first day, unhorsing Saxon challengers. Cedric and Athelstane, spectators, seethed at the Norman triumphs. Then, a mysterious knight in black armor, calling himself the Disinherited Knight, entered the lists. With unmatched skill, he unhorsed Bois Guilbert and others, winning the day. Only Rowena, sensing something familiar, crowned him victor, her eyes lingering on his visor. On the second day, the Disinherited Knight faced a grueling melee. Outnumbered, he was aided by another unknown knight, dubbed the Black Sluggard for his late arrival. Together, they triumphed, but the Black Sluggard vanished. When the Disinherited Knight removed his helmet to receive Rowena's wreath, Ivanhoe's face was revealed, pale from a wound. Cedric, torn between pride and anger, watched as his son collapsed, his identity now known. Meanwhile, Isaac and Rebecca, traveling from Ashby, were ambushed by Bois Guilbert and his allies, who sought to extort Isaac's wealth. They were taken to Front de Boeuf's castle, Torquilstone, where de Bracy also held Rowena, whom he desired to marry. Cedric and Athelstane, captured en route to Rotherwood, joined the prisoners. Bois Guilbert, smitten with Rebecca, offered her freedom in exchange for her love, but she rebuffed him, her faith and dignity unshaken. Isaac, tortured by Front de Boeuf, faced threats to his life unless he paid a ransom. Back at Ashby, Ivanhoe, recovering under Rebecca's skilled nursing, learned of the captive's plight. The Black Sluggard, revealed as King Richard in disguise, rallied a band of outlaws led by Robin of Locksley, none other than Robin Hood. Alongside Cedric's loyal servant Guth and the jester Wamba, they marched on Torquilstone. The siege was fierce. Richard's sword clashed with Norman steel, while Locksley's archers rained arrows. Wamba, in a daring ruse, disguised himself as a monk to infiltrate the castle, aiding the assault. Inside, Ulrica, a Saxon woman long abused by Front de Boeuf, set the castle ablaze in revenge, perishing with him in the flames. The prisoners were freed, but Bois Guilbert fled with Rebecca, taking her to the Templar preceptory at Templestowe. De Bracy, captured, swore loyalty to Richard, while Athelstane, thought dead, later reappeared, having only been stunned. Ivanhoe, still weak, pursued Rebecca, driven by gratitude and admiration. At Templestowe, Bois Guilbert faced a crisis. The Templar Grand Master, Lucas de Beaumenor, accused Rebecca of witchcraft, blaming her beauty for Bois Guilbert's obsession. Rebecca, defending her innocence, demanded a trial by combat, a champion to fight for her. Ivanhoe arrived just as the trial began. Though barely healed, he volunteered as Rebecca's champion, facing Bois Guilbert in a duel to the death. The Templar, torn by his passion for Rebecca and his pride, fought with ferocity. Yet, in a twist of fate, Bois Guilbert's heart failed under the strain of guilt and conflict, and he fell dead before Ivanhoe could strike. Rebecca was freed, her honor intact, but she and Isaac resolved to leave England, wary of its prejudices. With Richard restored to the throne, Prince John's schemes collapsed. Cedric, reconciled with Ivanhoe, reluctantly blessed his marriage to Rowena, abandoning his dream of a Saxon dynasty through Athelstane, who ceded his claim to her. Richard pardoned the outlaws, and Locksley's band returned to Sherwood, their legend growing. Rebecca, before departing, visited Rowena, gifting her a token of gratitude but refusing to stay, knowing her love for Ivanhoe could never be. As she and Isaac sailed for Spain, Ivanhoe stood by Rowena, his heart heavy with respect for the woman who had saved him, now bound for a distant land.